As soon as we step outside our front door, nowhere is safe. As powerful as humankind is, there is something much larger than us, something much more dangerous calling the shots: Mother Nature. Dotted across our great planet, you'll find hyper-radioactive islands, uncontrollable volcanoes spewing deadly blue fire, and vast regions so hot and so unforgiving that you wouldn't last a day. Take a look at the most dangerous places on Earth, but whatever you do, don't go visiting them yourself. As we peer down from above, this ghastly landscape may look like a satellite image of Mars, but we're yet to leave Earth. This surreal, eerie vista is Lake Natron in Tanzania. It's found in the northern part of the country, near the border with Kenya. Of the $2.5 billion spent by tourists in Tanzania every year, not a penny of it ends up here. Why? Because the lake is so dangerous that all living creatures turn lifeless just by coming into contact with it. A real-life Mother Nature kiss of death. Natron is a salt lake, meaning that water flows in but doesn't flow out, so it can only escape by evaporation. If high saline levels weren't enough, it sits below Old Daenyo Langai, a raging active volcano. For obvious reasons, swimming in this lake is strictly prohibited, and even if it was permitted, we wouldn't last 5 minutes with the foul stench of sulfur torturing our nostrils and the up to 140-degree Fahrenheit water scalding everything it touches. From Africa to South America, thrill seekers from all over the world are warned about the treacherous Yungas Road in Bolivia. It's been dubbed Death Road, and it's not hard to see why. The 43-mile-long twisting and touring mountain route has danger written all over it. If the constant threat of fog and landslides weren't enough to scare off visitors, the dramatic, steep 2,000 feet cliffs at every turn ought to do the trick. That's a fall higher than the entire Empire State Building. Nearly 300 drivers met their fate every single year until 1994, with numerous memorials scattered along the dirt path. The road connects Bolivia's capital, La Paz, to the town of Coroico, and until 2009, it was the only means of transport between the two. Thankfully, an alternative has since been built. Believe it or not, Yungas Road has become a tourist hotspot in recent years, with adrenaline junkies coming far and wide, paying around $75 American for the thrill of a lifetime. You must sign a liability waiver before completing the activity, and insurance is not included. So, would you be brave enough? Jetting away from the middle of Bolivia and out yonder to the middle of the ocean, at first glance, with its sandy beaches and swaying palm trees, this looks like Richard Branson's $42,000 a night Paradise Island. But upon closer inspection, it's a very dangerous, very threatening hell on Earth. In the wake of World War II, the United States of America decided to resume nuclear testing. Its scapegoat? Bikini Atoll, an island oasis in the Pacific about halfway between Hawaii and Australia. We all know the devastating effects of the Hiroshima bomb, right? Well, one of the weapons used on Bikini Atoll, a 15-megaton, $2,666,000 Bravo thermonuclear bomb exploded with 1,000 times more force that the one in Hiroshima vaporized 3 islands in the process. It was just one of 23 atomic and hydrogen bomb blasts in the 1940s and 1950s in the area. For decades, Bikini was affected by significant levels of radiation, and inhabitants were ordered to abandon their homes. Even today, the soil remains hazardous, and living organisms struggle to thrive. As long as the food is imported, it is deemed safe to live and visit. However, a number of question marks remain present. While we're on the topic of radioactivity ripping through communities, there's one place that immediately comes to mind. Yep, we all know it. Chernobyl. On the 26th of April, 1986, the number 4 nuclear reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded. Chaos ensued, lives were lost, and a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone was forced to be implemented. Anyone who got too close to ground zero risked diabolical health concerns, and sometimes it took years for the effects to surface. But when they did, there was no rewriting history, and the billions of dollars of medical bills piled up. Today, the eerie crumbling Ferris wheel in Pripyat and the untouched abandoned buildings are not only reminders of the disaster, but also emerging tourist attractions. As the concept of dark tourism gains traction, more and more people are spending hundreds of dollars on guided tours through the radioactive area. On these tours, you can view the new confinement structure that covers the former No. 4 reactor, which was estimated to cost $2.3 billion, a mere sliver of the $235 billion in total damages. But don't touch anything, because the radioactivity levels still pose health risks. Have you ever seen something as spectacular as these stunning electric blue flames erupting from a volcano? It's beautiful, it's mesmerizing, and it's a recipe for disaster. These incredible images come from Kawah Ijen volcano in Indonesia, located near the eastern tip of Java Island, right about here. By day, it's a uniquely colored lake worthy of a selfie or two, but by night, it's a raging, dazzling, and potentially harmful spectacle. This feat of Mother Nature is accessible for humans, but it's not easy. A 4-mile climb to heights of nearly 10,000 feet is just step 1. Step 2 is wading through the toxic sulfur fumes that reduce not only your ability to breathe, but also your visibility. The blue glow comes from the combustion of sulfuric gases. They emerge from the volcano at hell-like temperatures up to 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you get too close, well, we don't need to spell that one out for you. Indonesia boasts a list of natural sites, including Kawah Ijen, which rivals any other nation in the world, which is why their annual tourism revenue has broken the $16 billion mark. If you're heading down there, though, there are much safer hiking opportunities. Split between the northeastern fringes of Ethiopia, southern Eritrea, and northern Djibouti, welcome to what thousands of travelers describe as the literal hell on earth. This is Africa's Danakil Desert, and while it may look like a colorful Willy Wonka paradise, it's one of the most alien places on earth. And we're not exaggerating there. The Danakil Depression is so otherworldly that scientists actually use as a comparison to study the possibility of life on other planets. Much of it is over 350 feet below sea level, and temperatures regularly exceed 122 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius. With a number of so-called killer lakes, it's common to see insects and birds lay motionless around the perimeter of Danakil's sulfur springs, likely caused by drinking the sulfur-infused water or inhaling too much of the carbon dioxide-rich air. The hydrothermal areas in Danakil, those stunning geysers and lakes, are hotter and more acidic than anything in Yellowstone National Park. As if the immense heat, numerous active volcanoes, and toxic gas-spitting geysers weren't enough to scare you off, several incidents of violence involving tourists have been recorded over recent years. Still, tourism is increasing. Last year, income earned from tourism rose to $3.5 billion. As we leave the gateway to hell and venture back to the landlocked South American nation of Bolivia, we'd like to welcome you to the calm and picturesque Madidi National Park. Unlike some of the other spots we've seen so far, a swim in the water won't do much damage. The killer in waiting, instead, is the array of toxic plants. This national park is home to the most poisonous and aggressive flora in the world. For us, contact with any of the plants growing in this park can cause severe itching, rash, and dizziness. For smaller animals yet to adapt to the conditions, well, it can be a whole lot worse. Madidi is also teeming with parasites, meaning that a tiny wound could turn deadly in a short period of time if bad luck comes a-knockin'. The park stretches 7,336 square miles, or 19,000 square kilometers, from the Andean peaks down to the steamy Amazon, making it one of the largest protected areas in Bolivia. Guided tours can be arranged from hundreds up to a couple $1,000s, and trust us, you want an experienced guide by your side every step of the way to protect from the plants and wildlife. If that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, then stay far, far away from Ilha de Comadregrande, aka Snake Island. It's not just 4,000 of your average garden snakes either. This 43-hectare island, which sits about 25 miles off mainland Brazil, is the endemic home of the golden lancehead viper, one of the most venomous snakes on the entire planet. A human bitten by one of these reptiles could wind up 6 feet under in less than an hour. Yep, that bad. Thankfully, even if we wanted to get up close and personal with these legless demons, we're strictly forbidden. Only the Brazilian Navy and designated scientists from the Chico Mendes Institute for Biodiversity Conservation are allowed to set foot on the island. Prisons take the most dangerous elements in the world and isolate them in small places. Sitting in the middle of frigid waters on the San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was considered the prison of all prisons. It was a place where the most notorious escape-prone criminals were sent, and it spelled danger. Al Capone, Frank Morris, and the Anglin brothers, and thousands of other criminals face the potential wrath of round-the-clock armed guards, remote-controlled weaponry, remote-controlled tear gas dispensers, and 12-foot-tall razor wire fences, $200,000 worth of steel bars, not to mention the water-based threat of hypothermia and sharks. This was the Supermax prison of its day. As a prisoner, there was no place on earth more feared than Alcatraz. In 1963, USP Alcatraz closed after 29 years of operation. Today, you can visit Alcatraz for about $40 and see the mind-numbing cells firsthand. Despite a reputation as the Supermax prison of its day, the dangers at Alcatraz barely bat an eyelid compared to the modern USP Florence AD Max in Florence, Colorado. The dangers here lie with the prisoners. Its inmates are considered too dangerous for any other maximum security prison in the country. Notorious gang leaders, fraudsters, armed robbers, there's no rap sheet out of the question. The prison itself can cause serious psychological damages too. Inmates are subjected to up to 23 hours of solitary confinement per day, with a small 4-inch by 4 feet slit of a window the only source of natural light in the cells. The impenetrable facility, managed by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, costs $60 million to build. On top of that, American maximum security prisons can cost up to $100,000 per year per inmate. Can you think of any other dangerous places? Have you visited any? Let us know. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks so much for checking out The Richest. See you next time, and have a great day.